Hey, I want to thank EPD for their strong support of prescribed burning. EPA is in the back of the room. Thank you guys for being here and understanding how important this tool is. Clean air is important as well, right? So what can we do as wildland firelighters to promote more prescribed fire and keep our air clean? So all y'all know that fire is important from the mountains to the sea. And we also know that in the absence of fire, we're going to get this buildup of vegetation or growth, right? And that can lead to a catastrophic wildfire. Now, I think the public gets that, and they see wildfires out west and how bad, the forest is. But do they think about smoke? And by doing prescribed burning, we're keeping that vegetation down, and we're preventing those wildfires and those big smoke events, because we all know that the South will burn. And either we pick the day, and this is us setting 2,000 acres on fire in the Coney National Forest, or Mother Nature picks a day, and trust me, she's not looking at the fire weather dashboard. She doesn't care about transport winds or anything, right? And this smoke is going to last for weeks or months. This was the Okefenokee fire back in 2007. And the particulate matter in that is incredible. So we know that prescribed fire, is a safe way to apply that natural process, ensure ecosystem health, and reduce the risk of wildfire. And I like to add things, even though that's one message, many voices. So I'm just going to add, and it's our most essential tool to manage wildlife, create resilient ecosystems, and promote cleaner air. So I want to thank all y'all for being here, learning more about smoke and fire, and doing the good work of stewardship. And if you're doing it already, or you're thinking about doing it in the future, kudos. As you know, this is the map that we created for the exceptional events demonstration. Georgia needs to burn, and it needs to burn a lot. And all across the state, in every ecoregion, we have fire-adapted ecosystems that need fire. So where there's smoke, there's fire, and where there's fire, there's smoke. So today I want to talk to you about managing your smoke. And it starts even before you light that first match, right? It starts with your burn plan. Now, if I'm asked what are like the most essential elements, the burning elements of a burn plan, I would say, first of all, it's the purpose. Like, why are you setting that fire and what are you hoping to accomplish? Then what are those weather parameters to get the fire effects that you're looking for? But also, what are the weather factors to manage your smoke? And what are your smoke sensitive targets in your area? What are those for you guys? Might be schools, right? Or nursing homes, busy highways, heavily populated areas, airports. These are the things that you need to be thinking about and write that weather prescription to be able to manage that smoke. So in your burn plan, you want to kind of write down a desired range of like, I really like to see these weather factors, and they need to be a range, because I've been setting fires for 25 years. I don't think I've ever opened up the weather and be like, hey, it's actually the exact perfect day that I wanted to burn. You're always playing weather factors off of each other, right? So you need to know how to play those things and how they interact. Now, if this is kind of overwhelming, don't freak out. There's a lot of great resources out there. On your jump stick, check it out. We've got the Smoke Management Guidebook to Prescribed Burning. It's a very comprehensive manual. We also have the guidebook for prescribed burning. It's on your jump stick. And coming soon, maybe next year, this is kind of exciting, a little sneak preview. Tall Timbers is working on fire training, and Zach's got this crazy idea of like a master burner series, like a master gardener, right? Of content from this prescribed burning book that you can get through the Tall Timbers portal. So that is really, really cool, and it's going to be a great place to get more information. Southern Fire Exchange is awesome. You can get a lot of their things online. This is a fact sheet. Fire councils are across the country, and Georgia is one of the strongest. I'm really, really proud of us. I've been part of this for 20 years, and it is amazing to see this many people. I remember when I was president back in 2017, I had like the highest number, but you guys are blowing it away now. So kudos for that. But fire councils are a really important way to get information out. And that little smoke management pocket guide is those things that you need to think about. The Georgia Forestry Commission certification, Johnny mentioned this. This is an excellent 2-day class to learn a lot about fire and smoke. I believe the Waycross one is full, right? But the Savannah River PBA, the Prescribed Burn Association, has a few slots open in December. So you can check that out on their Facebook page. So that's a great place to go. And you want to pick the right weather, right? So you've got your plan. You're starting to look at the weather. A great place to go is the Fire Weather Dashboard. It's a one-stop shop with all the things that you need, and it's got forecasted things days in advance. You can also get your weather. I'm a graphical person. I like the National Weather Service point weather forecast. That's where you can drop your point on the map, and then you get those graphs through the next few days to see how those trends are. And then you can also get, local weather. When we're burning down in Seminole, it's really nice. We've got a UGA weather station right there. So I can check the local weather to see how that's tracking. So let's talk about a few of the important fire weather elements. One is the mixing height. So mixing height is that thickness of the air where your smoke is mixing, right? Ideally, or actually, you need it to be above 1,650 feet because you need that mixing layer to be high enough. You're not even going to get a permit below that, so not a lot of playing around there. But the mixing height plays into some other factors that you need to consider. And one of those is transport winds. So that's the average wind speed and direction throughout the mixing height, and it's really going to tell you where your smoke is going to be going. The ideal range is, maybe 9 to 15. You can burn below a 9, but you can't burn like big acreage, and you need to be kind of in a remote area with not a lot of smoke sensitive areas. And you can burn above 15, but heads up, you might get some spotting, including long range spotting. So watch out for that. So let's do this little graphic of why transport winds matter. I'm going to try to explain this for you. Okay, so we're keeping all factors the same. We're going to burn 100 acres in about 5 hours. It's a litter model. We've got really good mixing height, moderately unstable atmosphere, so that's good. So a north transport wind of 1 mile an hour. So these are V smoke projections. So if you see the winds coming from the north, look how far your smoke impact goes. Wow. Now go counterclockwise 1 mile per hour. So you can see at the very end there is a 9 mile per hour. So you can see how your smoke impact shrinks with your change in transport winds. Another thing to think about is dispersion. The ideal range for prescribed burning, roughly 41 to 90. You can definitely burn below 41 if you're in a really remote area and smoke sensitive targets are not downstream for you. Or you can burn above 90, but beware, that's going to promote erratic fire behavior. So that's fine if maybe you're surrounded by black or you don't have any really risk of escape. So use all of the tools in your smoke management toolbox. These two are V-Smoke and a simple smoke screening that's available online, and you can play around with them. So let's think about fun with smoke management. Let's say smoke management is a pie. And unlike a cherry pie where you want to eat all of it, there are different slices, and there's some good slices and there's some bad slices. So here at Alapaha River, WMA, we've got Highway 319 north of us. So there's like half of the pie that we really don't want that smoke going to, right? But there's a lot of slices that are appealing. So you might think, wow, Jacob's never going to burn on anything but a north wind at Alapaha River. Well, actually, if you do the smoke modeling, you can see that there are some days that you can have a south component, but you really need to understand your fuels and the winds and where you are on the property to really accurately figure that out. So the kind of fuels that you have, are they continuous? Are they thick? How long is your rough? Are they wet? And how available are they? That's going to play around. So let's look for an example, a hoopy dune. So this is a sand hill. So really scrappy hardwood fuels, a lot of sand. Let's look at 50 acres versus 200 acres. So you can see on the left is your 50-acre smoke plume from V-Smoke. And then everything's the same. Keep all those factors the same. What happens when you burn 200 acres? And you can see how that smoke gets a little bit further, right? Now let's switch over to Reed Bingham. We got 100 acres. It's a light shrub. We burned 2 years ago. How does wet and dry change things? So if you're burning up at the northeast corner of Reed Bingham, and it's really wet, it's rained in the last few days, your smoke's not even going to get to that dirt road that's nearby. But it hasn't rained in a week or two, very dry, yeah, your smoke is going to travel for a ways, right? And that yellow is the higher level smoke. So you're really looking at those darker colors. Now let's look at that Reed Bingham, 100 acres, very dry with a light rough versus a heavy shrub, right? So that's the same one you just saw. Light shrub, very dry. You see where your smoke's going. But if you haven't burned in 4 or 5 years and you've got all that palmetto coming back, wow, look at your smoke impacts. And also think about how much easier it is to burn when you're in that natural fire return interval because you've got less fuels. So the more you can burn, the easier it is to control your fire effects, really finesse them, and manage your smoke. So obviously for the bigger burns, the aerial burns, we're using way, way more complicated and sophisticated smoke management planning like PB burn, blue sky. We even do the high split modeling like what Jim showed you, and really diligent with the smoke management there. Georgia DNR created a fun little tool. The one on the top left there is Georgia winds and air quality. So it's just basically our conservation properties, surface winds and directions, and where those PM 2.5 monitors are. You can open up your phone the day of, see if you need, where you need to be burning with respect to those monitors. Tall Timbers has taken this tool, expanded it to the Southeast because we're trying to lead the country in this exceptional event stuff. So expanded it to the Southeast, and it made it a lot more sophisticated. So they're showing smoke plumes, and they're actually showing a forecast slider where you can actually see how things are going to change into the future. So these are really, really handy tools that I suggest you guys check out. I don't know if this made it to the jump stick. I hope it did, but you can, that's my first QR code ever made. I'm very proud. I kind of like everything in this presentation, I pulled together this very Spartan handout with links. It's not pretty, but all the information's there. So I hope you guys can use that and find out more. So if you are a certified burner, I encourage you to use that online burn permitting system. It's a little weird the first time you do it, but once you get used to it, it's awesome. And you get to see your V-smoke output there. You can get your permit up to 48 hours ahead of time. And you got a folder, when you log in, you got a folder with all your permits that you've ever pulled, which is really, really handy. And I also encourage you to get a permit for the accurate number of acres that you're burning, because we really, really need to know how much of Georgia is burning, especially moving forward with this modeling with smoke and stuff. We really need to know an accurate number. And Ken's going to talk more about that number and what we want to see that number in the future. Now, another thing to think about is, all right, you got good fire weather, right? There's also something called good smoke weather. So back in the spring, my guys outside of Augusta called me up and they're like, Shan, it's like the perfect day. I can't get a burn permit. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing wrong, man? So I pulled up the weather. I was like, well, dang, that looks perfect to me. I'd be calling for a permit. So I called my buddy Ken. He's like, really, Shan, you calling me again? And he's like, actually, it's a great fire weather day. And the last 3 days have been great fire weather days. And the air shed is full. And we got some gator smoke. We're getting smoke from other states. And it's all lingering up in the atmosphere. The air quality is not good. The smoke is not moving out. And even though it's a good burning day, it's not a great day for burning for smoke. And we want to make sure that we're protecting the health, right? We want to make sure that we're being good practitioners in managing our smoke. So there might be some days that you don't get a permit. Just be okay with that and know that you're playing your part to protect public health. Some places that you can go to get information about air quality is the Air Now. They've got an app and a website. So you're going to see these monitors. You're also going to see smoke plumes. And you can see things like about a month ago, there was all these Mexican wildfires. Our monitors are bad. And you're just like, what's going on? And you can see the high level smoke is coming in from Mexico. Same thing with those Canadian wildfires. And it's really, really fascinating to kind of track this and watch what's going on. Coming to these meetings is a great place to learn, to network, to hear about new tools and techniques and strategies. So thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. Again, I'm really excited to see how our numbers have grown over the past 20 years. PBAs, prescribed burn associations, are growing here in Georgia, and they're amazing. So you're going to hear more from George and Tom and George later this afternoon. So seek these guys out. This is where just private landowners, interested folks, come together to help each other burn. It's kind of like the IBT. The interagency burn team allows state, federal, and private entities to seamlessly burn together. And it's a really exciting thing that's pretty unique to Georgia. But the PBA is the same kind of concept. Hey, I can burn my property this week, you come help me, and then I'll come help you next week, and we all get more done. This is a great way to learn new things, and they offer fantastic workshops and training. So check those out. Education is constantly being developed. I'm working with Tall Timbers now to develop more stuff coming in the future. This just dropped. Be smoke savvy. So you can register now for free through the Tall Timbers portal and take this, I think it's a 2-hour smoke course that kind of talks about all the things that I've talked about, but in more in depth and really breaks down that weather stuff. So check it out. And George has got a really great video on using V-Smoke, how to use it. It's a pretty simple tool. Check out some of the archived webinars on the Southern Fire Exchange. Wealth of knowledge. They've even built a page that's all about basic smoke management practices. So he's got all the fact sheets and all the webinars that pertain to smoke in one place. So check that out. So be a good neighbor. When you're burning, let your neighbors know, right? It's a great time to educate them and tell them why you're burning. When we burn at parks, we always print out a little thing with Burner Bob to explain why we're burning, and check out our video. Sparky was out at Seminole greeting the visitors and letting people know that we're going to be burning all week. It's good to be a good neighbor. And public notification is one of those things that the EPA wants to see, that we're giving people a heads up that we're burning. So Jones Center is actually developing a marketing campaign as part of the exceptional events demonstration. That's a one message, many voices. Again, they're adding words too. So the same thing, prescribed fire is a safe way to apply a natural process, ensure ecosystem health, and reduce wildfire risk. When there's smoke in the air, here's what you can do to protect yourself and your family. So they're taking some information from the Florida campaign and they're spinning it for Georgia, and they're going to be deploying it in the Albany area. And then we'll be sharing this across the state just to raise everybody's awareness, raise the public's awareness about why we're putting smoke in the air, why it's important, and how they can protect themselves. When you're burning, make sure you're checking your lines, patrol your unit, mop up. Your mop-up standards are going to really depend on where you are. If you're in the middle of nowhere and there's no smoke-sensitive targets and there's no threat of escape, you might have pretty relaxed mop-up standards. If you're like Phil and he's burning at Sweetwater Creek State Park in the middle of Atlanta, guess what? 100% mop-up. Those are so much fun. But yeah, there's some days that you really, really have to put all smoke out. And so know the difference between those. Be creative in your ignition. There are ways to set the fire to get the smoke to lift really quickly. Now, make sure you're getting your objectives, you're getting the fire effects that you want. But there are tools and toys that you can invest in. The PyroShot is one, really a great tool and a safe way to get fire into places that are really thick. You got 100G laying around. These drones that shoot fireballs, they're pretty amazing. I tell you, a year ago, I was a skeptic, but I was on a burn at Tula Gorge with Nathan, 800 acres, and I was following RT Lumpkin around with the drone. It was like surgical precision of like, fire this ridge, now take it and fire that ridge. It was really, really amazing. So drones, I think, are going to be a way of the future to be able to lift that smoke fast because you're burning in such a compressed time. And finally, you're going to hear from Ken, right, that March is awesome for burning. And I agree. You're going to get great fire effects, right? But we all can't be burning on the same day. So spread your fires out throughout the year. Play around with fall burning. Play around with growing season burning. Really expand your burn windows because you're spreading the smoke out throughout the year, right? And we all know Burner Bob says pyrodiversity enkindles biodiversity. Gotta always throw Burner Bob in there. But finally, if there's one thing, if you've been asleep through my presentation, if there's one thing, wake up now and remember this. As wildland firelighters, we need to manage our smoke to help protect the public and pick the right day, think about that air shed, and be smoke savvy. Thank you.